Hey Froggy friends, Kirostyle here, welcome to Dead or Alive 5 Last Round. Thank you so much for joining me here on stream. Ash, congratulations on being first. Sai, hello. Luck, it's good to see you. CB, welcome in. Luca and Luke, hope you guys are all doing well today. Now you might be wondering, Kiro, why are we playing this game, and why now? Well, in case you didn't know, they actually recently announced a new Dead or Alive game coming up later this year. So I thought we'd go back and play this game, for those of you not familiar with the series, so we can kind of see what the characters are like, understand the story for those of you that don't know. We also just finished the last Ninja Gaiden 4 DLC, or the only Ninja Gaiden 4 DLC, the other day. So I thought this was a good time because Dead or Alive and Ninja Gaiden are closely linked together. Now, I have a few things to say about this game, because when I mention this game, when I mention this series to any of my normie friends or more casual gamer friends, their first reaction is always, Kiro, isn't that just like a gooner game of girls with big chests playing on the beach? And they're not completely wrong, but they're also wrong. Hey Jeannie, welcome to the stream. So Dead or Alive is a fighting game series. However, there is a spin-off, or a couple spin-offs, Dead or Alive Xtreme Beach Volleyball, which feature the girls in this game playing beach volleyball, you guessed it. And those games, you know, are obviously made for fan service, but the fighting game itself also has fan service in it too. And another thing I also get from a lot of people when I mention this game series is, Kiro, isn't Dead or Alive just about girls? And believe it or not, Dead or Alive actually has men in it. In fact, 40% of the roster is male, but you almost never hear about them because the girls get like 5 times more DLC outfits than the guys. But there are men in this game. So let me give you a little walkthrough of the history of Dead or Alive so you can kind of understand a little bit about the series. And even though a lot of people hand wave it as being kind of a silly fan service only game series, like this game's actually really important to the development of fighting games in general as well. So the first Dead or Alive game came out in 1996 in arcades and Sega Saturn. And at the time, fighting games were just starting to move from 2-dimensional to 3-dimensional. Now, Virtua Fighter was kind of the spearhead of that movement. That was kind of like the great grandpa daddy of 3-dimensional fighting games, followed closely by Tekken. And so at the time, they were coming out with all these 3D fighting games, and the technology was kind of new at the time, and it wasn't super easy for just anyone to do. A lot of other companies tried to do 3D fighting games and didn't really do an amazing job. So Virtua Fighter and Tekken kind of had a big stranglehold on the industry. And so they kind of wanted to make another game series, Dead or Alive, but they needed to find a way to make it stand out among the other fighting games. So they decided to add fan service. And so they added physics, specifically to the females' chests. Which sounds silly, but it's actually kind of a technical marvel. There's actually an entire video on YouTube that I stumbled across a couple months ago talking about how difficult that actually was and why it was actually revolutionary and important for the video games industry. But basically, they found out how to model chests and make them bounce around and be affected by physics, which actually led to a lot of developments in video games. It also made Dead or Alive stand out a bit more from Virtua Fighter and Tekken, which kind of gave it a place in the market. Now, despite that's the main thing that Dead or Alive is known for, but honestly, Dead or Alive has pioneered a number of other great things in the fighting game space, and I'm not an expert, but I'll tell you what I know. So, I mean, one thing is that a lot of these games have environmental hazards. So if you knock someone against something in the arena, something will happen, like something will explode, or someone will fall down to the lower part of the stage, and you could like kick them off the ledge or the roof and jump down with them, and like you get some really like fancy looking attacks and animations from that. And that's actually pretty revolutionary. I know Tekken kind of has that, but not to the same extent as Dead or Alive. Dead or Alive also, for fighting, you can also choose like 1v1, or you can also do tag team matches where you like pick 2 characters on your team versus 2 characters on your opponent's team. and you can do tag throws. So there's like unique throw animations where when you have two people in the party that have a compatibility, they could do like a unique throw that has them come together and do like a fun animation. So that's also pretty cool. Dead or Alive 5, this game in particular, was also one of the earlier fighting games to pioneer dirt and sweat physics. So the characters will get dirtier and sweatier as the fight goes on and as they hit the ground and do more moves and stuff, which was new for the time. So I don't want to understate that Dead or Alive has some very important contributions to the video game industry and fighting games, but there are some drawbacks or negative things about Dead or Alive that sometimes overshadow some of the good that they've done, especially from a casual standpoint or from someone who is not really familiar with fighting games or Dead or Alive. So let's talk a little bit about that. Well, first of all, Dead or Alive has a shared universe with Ninja Gaiden. And when Dead or Alive 1 came out, they had the rights to Ryu Hayabusa, who at the time was only on those like old two-dimensional platformer, difficult, like SNES games or whatever. And they decided, hey, we have the rights to Ryu Hayabusa, let's put him into Dead or Alive. And that actually reignited interest in Ninja Gaiden, and that's what led to them making the new Ninja Gaiden games, the 3D action games that we know now today that we've also played on the channel. So without Dead or Alive, the Ryu Hayabusa would not have his game series right now. So that's pretty important. This game has a shared universe with Ninja Gaiden, so there are Ninja Gaiden characters in this game, like Ryu and Ayane and Momiji and Rachel. Now, Dead or Alive 5 was my first Dead or Alive because Dead or Alive 4 was only on Xbox, and I never had an Xbox. But Dead or Alive 5 was a pretty big step up from Dead or Alive 4. Now, Dead or Alive 5 came out in 2012, and then later came out as Dead or Alive 5 Ultimate in 2013, and then Dead or Alive 5 Last Round in 2015. Dead or Alive 6 came out in 2019, and then just recently they announced Dead or Alive 6 Last Round is coming later this year, June 2026, which is weird because that's like 7 years after Dead or Alive 6. People didn't expect them to suddenly bring back a Dead or Alive 6 with a Last Round version 7 years later. But they've also announced that they're making the next Dead or Alive game, so they're working on Dead or Alive 7 right now. So that means Dead or Alive is back, and that's why we're back playing this game. Let me introduce you to the characters, and then we'll talk a little bit about some of the negative things about the series that I want to talk about. I'll do a tag match so I can show you some of those later. So, I'll show you which characters are new to the series, starting from this game. So, Dead or Alive 5 had a lot of returning characters. The newest ones were Mila, she's new for this game, or the base version of this game, and Rig, he's new for Dead or Alive 5 Vanilla. They also add some guest characters. We have Akira from the main character of Virtua Fighter, so they actually partnered up with Virtua Fighter, which I get said is like the granddaddy of 3D fighting games. So they add Akira, he's the main character. They also add, where is she? Sarah Bryant, she's also from Virtua Fighter. And where is she? And Pi, she's also from Virtua Fighter. Now, the Virtua Fighter characters, Akira, Sarah, Pi, and Jackie, who I'm going to talk about in a second, they're actually kind of directly from Virtua Fighter 5, Virtua Fighter 5 Final Showdown. They have voice lines directly taken from that game. So if their voice lines sound a little different than everyone else's characters, it's because their voice lines are just taken from another game. On top of that, Akira and Pi only speak Japanese, and Sarah only speaks English, because Virtua Fighter kind of like functions like Tekken, where they like speak their native languages for the most part. So that was base game Dead or Alive 5. So that's 2012. Then Dead or Alive 5 Ultimate in 2013 comes out. They added Jackie, who is also a Virtua Fighter character. He is Sarah's brother, so he only speaks English. They added Momiji from Ninja Gaiden. They added Rachel from Ninja Gaiden. Then they also bring back some returning characters for Dead or Alive. We have Ein, who is an alter ego of another character in this game named Hayate. So they brought back Ein, and they also brought back Leon. And then in Dead or Alive 5 Ultimate, they also added DLC. The DLC characters include... Where is she? This character, Marie Rose. So she was DLC for Dead or Alive 5 Ultimate. I'm trying to find all the ones on the character select. Nyo Tengu. So she's also a DLC character. She uses a fighting style of a boss from an earlier Dead or Alive game. So she uses like almost like a boss moveset in a way. And then they also added Phase 4, who is also a clone of Kasumi. So those were the characters, the DLC characters they added for Dead or Alive 5 Ultimate. Then Dead or Alive 5 Last Round comes out in 2015. They added Honoka. And then they also added Raido, who is a boss from a previous Dead or Alive game, and he's been brought back as a cyborg, kind of like Nightmare Geese, where I don't think he's like really part of the plot anymore, but they brought back the boss character. DLC for Dead or Alive 5 Last Round was Naotora Lee from Samurai Warriors, or the Muso games, and Mai Shiranui. Now, you can't see it here, I'll show you guys, but Mai Shiranui is locked here for me, and I'm going to explain in a second why that is. Okay, so that's the cast, and then I'll quickly scroll over the remaining cast members so you can kind of look at them. This is the boss character of the game, Alpha 152, who's also another clone of Kasumi. So like I said, like this is the game in the series with the biggest cast right now, and a fair number of them are guest characters, especially if you consider the Ninja Gaiden characters as being... They're not exactly guest characters, but they're kind of guest characters in my opinion, but not exactly, because it is technically also their native series. So, biggest cast here, 40% male, believe it or not, yet when it comes to DLC outfits, they're primarily female. Okay, so those are the character introductions out of the way. So let me explain to you a little bit about how this game works in terms of DLC. So one of the biggest downsides of this game, and one of the biggest things that people ridicule about this game, is the egregious monetization. This game has a ton of DLC, mostly in the form of costumes, some music, some stages, some like special videos which show you like a look at some of the swimsuit costumes. There are 7 season passes for this game, and I think that's just for Last Round. That doesn't include the base game and the ultimate ones. Over the 7 season passes, that's 43 costume catalogs, because they group them by like theme or type or when it was released. There's over 1,000 costumes in this game. The total cost of all the costumes in this game is, I think, more than $1,500. That is more than 20 times the original price of the game itself. $1,500 of DLC, and some of the costumes you can only get if you get the season passes too, so you can't just buy them individually. That being said, of course, you don't need to buy all the costumes in the game, right? Most people would just buy the 1 or 2 costumes that they like, but that is an insane amount of money, and that's one of the things that has definitely gotten this game a lot of negative attention, is just the extreme price of all the DLCs, just from sheer volume. Now, like I said before, there's so many costumes in this game. However, even though 40% of the game's roster is male, for every costume that a male character might get in this game, each female might get 7 or 8 costumes for every 1 male costume there is in the game. So it is very, very much geared towards the females when it comes to the costumes. And that is also one of the things that lends itself to people calling this a Gooner game, because honestly, most of the costumes, in my opinion, look kind of the same. Like, a ton of those costumes are bikinis, and there's only so much you could do with mix and matching bikinis. Like, most of them kind of look very similar to each other, right? But it's for the fan service, right? Hey Rainbelt, hey Didsinal, and Lurking Ninja, hello, hello. Now that being said, there are some cool costumes in this game. There's a lot of like seasonal costumes, like Halloween and Christmas costumes. There's like casual costumes, ninja costumes. They have a lot of collab costumes as well. Like, they have collab costumes with Senran Kagura, with Falcom games, Samurai Warriors, Fairy Tail, Attack on Titan, King of Fighters, Arc System Works like Guilty Gear and Blaze Blue, Gust like Atelier. So they have a lot of actually kind of cool collabs as well. But the unfortunate thing, again, is a lot of the collab costumes are only for the girls. I don't think there's very few collab costumes just for the guys. Now, one thing they do that is cool, though, I will say, is that they have done a number of fan art contests where fan artists can submit their ideas for costumes, and they actually pick one for each character to do. And there's actually like a number of those costumes in the game. I think they ran the fan contest a couple of times. So even though people like clown on this game for the insane monetization and the sexualization, I think they do a really good job with handling their community and fan artists, which is really cool. So that's another thing that gets overshadowed by all the negative things about the game, I think. The other thing I want to mention is there is a quote-unquote free-to-play version of this game called Dead or Alive 5 Core Fighters. And if you download Dead or Alive 5 Core Fighters, you basically get the whole game, but you only have a couple characters on the roster. What you have to do is you have to buy each character individually on top of that. So let's say if you want to play this game and you only care about 3 characters in the game, maybe you buy Dead or Alive 5 Core Fighters, and then you only buy those 3 characters, then you can play the game and you only have those 3 characters. That is also an option. However, even though I have the full version of this game, if I go into the shop, it will still offer to sell me those characters. Like, it'll offer to sell me, I think Ryu might be part of the base game. Let's say I want Rig, right? One of the new characters for this game. If I had Core Fighters, I could buy them individually. But if I have the full game and I go into the shop, it'll still offer for me to purchase Rig for Dead or Alive 5 Core Fighters. And I'm like, but I already have the full game. Why would I even purchase that? Why is that even an option for me? So what I'm trying to get at is that the DLC store is very disorganized. It's extremely disorganized. If you go straight from PSN, it just lists all the costumes in like a big list in order of release date, and it is a mess. Because if you hover over any costume, the text is too long, so it has to marquee across. So all the text gets truncated. Every costume begins with DOA5LR, and then followed by like the name, like DOA5LR swimsuit, whatever, and before it even says the name of the character. So when you're looking at the icons are kind of small, and let's be honest, a lot of these girls kind of look the same when they just have other outfits on, and they all have like brown hair or blonde hair. So it's kind of a mess. Now, if you go from the PSN store in the game, then you can sort the costumes by character or by series, like Halloween, swimsuit, etc. But even then, not all of them seem to be listed, and some of them only come in sets, and it's just a mess. What I'm trying to get at is, if you just want to buy one thing for this game, it is difficult. So when I booted up this game, so I have the PS4 version of the game, it's currently in my PS5, so I don't have a save file on it. When I bought last round, I never got the last 2 DLC characters, which were Naotora, who's again a collab character from Samurai Warriors, and Mai Shiranui, who is from SNK, or King of Fighters, as we know her. So I was like, okay, well, before stream, I want to at least get all the characters to show them to you guys eventually. So I went to the store to look for Naotora, and there's a section in the store from the game, not from PSN, where you click on it, and there's a character tab. So I go to the character tab, and I click on the characters, and it only offers me the core fighter characters, the base characters from the game. And I'm like, where's the option to buy Naotora? She wasn't there. So I had to go to PSN and scroll through this list of like 1,000 DLC, looking for the one DLC that is just to buy her. And there's also another pack where you buy her and her like 5 starter costumes. I had to search for like over 5 minutes just to find that one costume pack to get her. So I was like, okay, I got her. Now I have to find Mai. So I spent another like 10 or 15 minutes scrolling through the store, and I could not find her. I could not find her. And it didn't help that she looks almost exactly like Momiji when you look at just her face. So I'm like, where's Mai? I couldn't find her. I scrolled up and down the whole list twice. Finally, I Googled it. Turns out that in 2019, they actually lost the license to have Mai in this game, so they removed her from the PSN store along with any of her outfits, which means that you can't buy her now, which means that you could only have gotten her if you bought her before 2019. Otherwise, you can't even get her in the game, and she's still here on the character select. So, if I didn't Google that, I would never have known, and I would have been searching endlessly down that list forever and never would have found her. So you cannot get Mai Shiranui in this game right now, unfortunately, if you're a fan of Mai. Honestly, she fits in the universe just fine, because there's so many ninjas in this game, and females with sizable assets, which is what she's known for. So, yeah, that was an adventure. That just highlighted to me one of the biggest drawbacks of this game, which is, again, egregious monetization. Awful. I think that's all I wanted to talk about in terms of characters for this game. But again, like, the game has some cool stuff. Like, it was the one to pioneer sweat and dirt physics on fighting games. It has, like, cool danger areas and scene transitions. It has tag team moves. Like, there's a lot of cool stuff to this game, but it gets overshadowed by the egregious fan service and egregious monetization, which are very glaring problems. I think anyone who is a fan of DOA, like, they're really die-hard fans, and for good reason, but anyone who only has passing knowledge of this game through memes, or doesn't really understand what it is, or only sees it being made fun of, I totally get where they're coming from too. It's kind of crazy. I'm gonna show you, I'm gonna show you a few of Ryu's outfits, just because we played through Ninja Gaiden, so you know. So this is like OG Ryu here. We have like one of his Demi-Fiend forms. This is like training dummy Ryu. We have his Ninja Gaiden 3 outfit is in this game. And his like full Fiend form. So you can fight as his Fiend form in this game, which is kind of cool. And then swimsuit and Santa outfit. Oh, this one gives him like different weapons on his back. This one has like the mummy outfit. This is his original Dead or Alive outfit. And then there's this outfit where it's just him with like zombies clinging to his back for Halloween. There's like other ones here as well. Some of them, again, are fan-designed. Some of them you can also choose to remove, like the glasses, or you can choose whether you want his hair up or down, which is kind of cool. But you can see he doesn't really have that many costumes, and if I go to, like, Kasumi, for example, she has a million outfits, being a girl. And you can see just from these thumbnails, like, a lot of them are just bikinis. I mean, I guess you can't see with some of the DLC ones, but... like, look at how many she has. It's crazy. Oh my god, it just keeps going. She's 55. Compared to Ryu, who has 20. Actually, 20 is more than I thought. If you go to, like, another character, I used to main Elliot in this game. He's kind of like Leo from Tekken, except he's not... He's male and not non-binary. Well, he has 22. Actually, that's more than I thought. Okay, so... maybe not... maybe the ratio's better than I thought, but it's still kind of crazy, the number of costumes the girls get in this game compared to the guys. So I'm going to show you a couple things about this game that I think are kind of cool. I'm doing a tag match so I can show you the tag mechanic. We'll fight against their rivals. Oh, I can't show you the danger zones on a tag match. That's okay. Okay, so the way that the battles in this game work is like there's a punch button, and then there's a kick button, which are your strikes. You have a hold button, which is also your guard, and then you have a throw button. So basically the way it works is that like throws beat parries, and then parries beat strikes. So with a parry, you gotta press the button and a direction at like the perfect timing to your opponent's moves. So you can also tag if you're doing a tag mode. Now, if you do a throw, so like here's a normal throw, but if I press the tag button and throw, certain characters have special like tag moves. But that's normal throw. So like Ryu and Hayate have this like tag throw, which is kind of cool because there are a lot of like different variations of tag throws for specific pairings of characters, kind of like Tekken Tag Tournament if you play Tekken Tag Tournament. Hey Aru, not Haru. Hey Aru, welcome to the stream. I want to show you the danger zones though, because that's another cool thing about the game. And I don't think they have them in the tag mode. So like we're fighting here on like on this like construction site, like we're on top of a like a skyscraper. So let's say I hit him over towards the edge here. There's a how do I do this? So I hit him and then suddenly the whole place is falling apart. And then I hit him again. Then now we're on the lower part of the stage. So you see there's like a cool transition. So when I knock off the opponent and they're hanging on to the edge there, they can like mash a button to try to they don't completely get up, but to prevent them from falling normally. And then I can press a button to attack them. And then if I attack, I can knock them off the edge and knock them down here for damage. Or if they resist it, then they can like land here as well and not take the fall damage, right? So you get these like cool scene transitions and stuff like that too. And there's a few on quite a few different stages, which like honestly is pretty cool. Again, this game came out in 2012, so like at the time it was quite cool. So that's like my primer guide to Ninja Gaiden and Dead or Alive. So we're just gonna play through the story mode, which I think is only like 3 hours long or whatever. The story mode came with the base game, so none of the characters that appear only in Ultimate or Last Round or DLC appear in the story, and none of the collab characters appear. So none of the Virtua Fighter characters appear, none of the I guess the Ninja Gaiden characters just like Ryu and Ayane. So no Mamiji and Rachel in the story mode, no Naotora, no Mai Shiranui. Well, yeah, I want to look at the options too, because I want to show you guys the camera angle. Oh yeah, so you can do like dirt effects, sweat and water. So this is the breast motion. See, we have like so we have natural, we have DOA, which is like the extra bouncy, and then we have last round, which is for this game, and then we have breast motion off. So it's set to DOA by default, which is like the crazy breast physics. I'm gonna switch back to natural. Maybe I should just have it off. I can't remember which one is the better looking one for realism. Let's go natural. But it's crazy. Actually, I want to test this in training mode first, because I don't want to do a story mode and have characters like be extremely distracting. Here, we'll go with Ayane. Or not Ayane, that's Kasumi. Kasumi's the main character of Dead or Alive, but she does appear in some Ninja Gaiden games briefly. But she is natively from Dead or Alive. Okay, let's see what this physics looks like on them. Okay, that's not ridiculous, that's fine, okay. Because if you set to DOA, it is like, they look like water balloons. It's actually insane. Okay, that's fine. That is reasonable. Okay, let's go through the story mode. So, because this is a new save file, I don't have save data on the story. Normally, if you have save data, then you can select like which chapter to start at, but if you don't, then it just goes straight through, and there's no like checkpoints or anything like that. I mean, there are, but like if you just press play, the story mode will just continue going until you hit pause and exit It doesn't ever bring you back to the menu otherwise. So yeah, that's enough talking. That's my introduction to what Dead or Alive is. Let's do the story. Well, I wonder if it carried over my save data. I don't think it did. Let's just start from the beginning. All you really need to know about the story is there's an evil company hosting a fighting tournament, and they're also like making clones of some of the characters in the game to make the Ultimate Fighter. Like, that's kind of all you need to know. So this is Bayman, one of the characters. New York, same time. Wait, why are they speaking in Japanese? Did I have that on as default? I want them in English, so you guys can hear. Oh, I still have it on system voice, Elliot. Wait, is it only Japanese? Wait, no, there's no way. I don't remember that. Is it? Oh, language. Okay. Apologies. I don't want to hit the skip button just in case it skips both scenes, so we'll just watch this one again.
What they say about you is true. You're not half bad. Can you beat me, though? That's the real question.
This is Zach.
Guess we're gonna find out.
And this is one of the new characters, Mila.
Ready, fight!
Ow. Is there? I think the story mode only has one difficulty, but I also haven't played this game in years. Wait, I get to re-earn the trophies again? I guess because I'm playing on PS5 now. I thought that I only get the trophies once per account, but... Oh, okay, now we're back with Bayman. Oh no, Organization 13. Freedom Survivor a few days later. Well, that's the name of the ship.
Concerning. but no such report has reached me yet.
Like hell it hasn't. That's not something any normal person could pull off. He had to be involved with Dot.
Well, at least you came back. We are all very grateful about that. In any case,
It's Helena.
Doetek has no involvement. At least not yet. Do you understand? Or were you hoping for something else?
So you're saying that whatever the people who have left Doetek do on their own is none of your concern. Is that right? Whatever. By the way, is that girl your messenger now?
Elena. Tell me. Where is my clone? Where is Alpha?
Kasumi.
Where is she? Tell me, I beg you. I need to find her. And put an end to this.
I honestly do not know. Alpha 152 was Doetek's ultimate combat life form. A one-of-a-kind asset. Do not worry. She will be found. I promise, Kasumi. You know, dear, we still have some time before we reach the dock. Try to get some rest.
So Helena kind of inherited the evil corporation, so she's good, but there's like remnants of the evil corporation or things that they've done before. So she's currently like...
What are you planning now?
She's like the current leader of Doetek, and then Donovan was like the previous leader who is like the bad guy. And Donovan's always been like an unseen off-screen character in Dead or Alive as well.
So, it's been a while, hasn't it, bro?
What does Elena want with me?
No idea. Maybe she's trying to set you up with someone.
Set me up?
It's Hayate. And so Zack is like, he used to be the announcer.
I'm sure she's done with all her experiments.
He's also the one that hosts the beach volleyball
Can you believe
spin-offs.
it's already been 2 years? It was nuts. The mighty ninja assault on Doetek headquarters, the raging gun battle, the 3,000-foot high tri-tower going up in flames.
Doetek.
Yeah, now that Elena's taken the place over, it's back in business. You know, I've actually been doing some work for them, and they've really turned over a new leaf. Oh, we have arrived.
Doetek offshore platform, same time. In front of Taylor's bar.
Damn, she's getting rusty. Must be the sea air.
This is Bass Armstrong.
Yo, what the hell were you thinking, Bass?
Bass.
Seriously, why'd you bring your hog with you out here in the middle of the ocean, man?
This is Rig, one of the newer characters for this game.
I mean, it ain't gonna do you any good here, is it?
Hey, what do you mean it won't do me any good out here? Now apologize for insulting my baby! Give me all you got!
Now, what a pain.
Get ready, fight!
Watch out! Watch out! Yeah, this is a good workout. On to the next fight.
He does kind of look like Jake from Resident Evil 6, doesn't he? He's got some cool tattoos.
Nice workout, huh? I'd say we earned ourselves a stiff drink, right, Bass? I sure am beat.
Yeah, like I said, this game was one of the first games to pioneer sweat physics.
Kasumi.
Hayate.
It's certainly been a while. What an honor this is. The 18th master of the Mugen Tenshi ninja clan. Apologies for troubling you.
Hayate. Listen to me. There's something I feel I have to finish.
The whereabouts of Alpha 152 are still unknown. It's quite dangerous for Kasumi to be on her own.
Kasumi. This concerns our whole clan. You shouldn't bear this burden alone.
No, brother. This is my fight, and no one else's!
Her run was kind of silly right there. Oh, so it looks like because I still have save data on this game from before, it saved my story progress so we have access to the full timeline. So usually, when you play through the first time, it doesn't give you the timeline at all. It just plays from start to finish until you hit the pause menu and go back to the menu. So I guess here we actually have access to the start menu, which I found a little bit surprising. So the way it works is that the events in this game do not happen in chronological order, and you switch perspectives between the characters quite often. So I guess we'll just kind of go from here. Luckily the points are numbered, but I was a little confused to see this appearing here.
Kasumi? I'm looking for Alpha 152. But I bet you already know.
Whatever do you mean?
You really want to fight this badly? I can't avoid this fight.
So this is Lisa, and in the game select, she's listed as La Mariposa because she's a luchador as her alter ego in the ring.
I know what I must do.
Finally got you. Prepare yourself, you traitor!
Ayane. I don't want to fight you, but I must!
Get ready, fight!
I think in the story mode you can't really knock people into the next platform because it's not usually part of the story. And look, thank you so much for subscribing. I really appreciate it. Thank you for your support.
I'm sorry. I must go on.
Antarctica a few days later. I like how it just keeps jumping so quickly. I didn't remember that it jumps so quickly between different scenes.
Why are you following me?
Pretty sneaky, ninja. I'm looking for something.
What would that be?
Ready to face your fate?
I like how they just immediately go right into a fight.
Get ready, fight!
I mean, it's a fighting game, so I do appreciate the use of some of the different default costumes in the story. That's kind of nice.
Tenshin!